Before we start, I just want to let you know that there will be spoilers for bosses throughout the game. With that being said, and you're still here, please enjoy the video. See-through, offense and defense, resolute counterthrow, resolute strike, tactical retreat, lucky strike, forceful thrust, skyfall strike? This game likes to throw words at you, don't they? There'll be two parts to the video. The first part being the basics part, where I will break down the skill tree and its respective skills and how it works. This section is meant to kinda elaborate on those who are still a little bit confused about the mechanic. And for the second part, it will be the advanced part, where I will be talking about the animation frames of your light attack combos, as well as how to optimize your windows and the relevant equipments. So make sure you check the timestamps in the description, and skip to the part where you need to. So, what is a counterattack? A counterattack is an action that leverages your opponent's attack to either enhance or allow you to retaliate effectively. Or in simpler terms, they hit monkey, but monkey hit back, cause monkey prepared. Now, instead of just slapping on the skill description and calling it a day, I'll break it down for you. Well, to begin, there are two stances that allows you to initiate a counterattack: the smash and the thrust. Though separate, both stances share the same concept, triggering the right condition for a counterattack. In this game, you can execute a series of inputs to create unique combos. One such combos trigger a short animation where your character enters a counter-ready state, intending to get hit. Think of this as setting a trap for your enemies. If your character is hit during this animation, it's called a see-through. This forms the foundation of counterattacks, as it's the condition required for your character's retaliation. Now we're ready to dive into the two stances. I'll be visualizing it with a chart. I'll throw in some markers too for clarity. The one on the blue tab, it will indicate a skill you unlock from the self-advance page, the yellow for action, and the red for the retaliation move you do after a successful see-through, aka the counter-attacking move. Now, let's start with Smash. The stance you unlock by default at the start of the game. But to use it to counter-attack, you need to unlock the skill name Resolute Counterflow, located at the very top of the tree. Resolute Counterflow allows you to do an automatic counter-attacking move called the Resolute Strike upon a successful see-through of an enemy. This consumes one focus point and nullifies the attack that triggered your see-through. To top it off, there's a skill called Skyfall Strike, which is a follow-up move after successfully landing your Resolute Strike on your enemy, consuming another focus point. For some reason, this move has the same name as the skill in the skill tree, but not the Resolute Strike. And that's the foundation of the Smash stance. Whew, you guys still with me? Now let's talk about the other skills that buffs or changes this counter-attack. The Winding Wind skill lets you start your light combo with a third light attack move after seeing through an enemy. This is a great option for those who can't follow up with a Skyfall Strike. The next one is Invigoration. It's a skill that grants you a lot of focus upon seeing through and landing a hit with the Resolute Strike. And the last one, the Vantage Point. It grants you more damage on your Skyfall Strike, the more focus points you have. That's pretty much the Smash stance. That's not so bad, right? The thrust stance is a little bit weird. You have to unlock a skill called Offense and Defense first. This allows you to do a tactical retreat, which spaces yourself from the enemy and gives you the option to just end the combo there, or follow up with a forceful thrust, using up one focus point. This is in a way a kind of pseudo counter, but you won't get the iframes, which is short for invincibility frames. The next one is Lucky Strike. It's a skill you unlock further down the tree, giving you the ability to now see through an enemy, nullifying the attack that triggered it, just like the Smash stance. And just like the skills mentioned previously, following up with the Forceful Thrust consumes a skill point, but this time you will be granted brief iframes until you finish the animation. Now it becomes a counter attack, or at least in my books. Now that's the foundation of the thrust stance done. Let's get into the related skills. Whirling Thrust. It's a skill sharing the same name as a move that zooms you back into the action using your staff to barrage your enemies with tickles. Why is that in my script? Barraging your enemies with flurry of strikes. This is a follow-up move you can do by holding down light attack after performing tactical retreat, forceful thrust, or charge heavy attack. Now, this doesn't directly buff the counter, but rather sets you up for a forced cascade, where each hit of the whirling thrust slightly increases your crit chance, which gives your forceful thrust counter attack a chance to land a crit hit. The next one is called Adaptability. This allows you to queue in another see-through at any point during the whirling animation. This is really good, because if you follow up with a whirling thrust, at any point in the animation, you can always press heavy attack to queue in another see-through. And yes, you can actually repeat this, but just be mindful of your stamina and your focus point. Last but not least, the Ebb and Flow. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Anyway, Ebb and Flow, it exempts the stamina cost for a short duration upon successfully seeing through an enemy during the tactical retreat. That's it for the thrust stance. Congratulations, you are now a proud valedictorian of Monkeyology. Get out there and show the world how good you are at being the apex ape of the century. To do a counter attack and initiate a see-through, it's just doing a light attack into a heavy attack the moment the enemy hits you, like shown here. I'll show that again in slow motion. I'm sorry that's anticlimactic, but that's really it. This has the same inputs for the smash stance as well. It's also important to note that you can queue in a heavy attack after every light attack inputs you do. Except the final move, which is like the leap and the smash. There's also a weird move, which is a fourth light attack, but don't worry, I'll cover that in the next part. The best way to practice this is to start by kind of like baiting out an enemy first. Look out for an attack the enemy is going to do. After you are sure you have enough time in the window, quickly do a light attack and chain in a heavy attack. It sounds pretty tight, but trust me, it's actually way easier than you think. I'll show you something. It comes out pretty fast, right? All you need is just that one quick initiating light attack to go into heavy. All you need to do is just anticipate a move of a boss, just like this. Then quickly do a light attack so you can queue into a heavy attack and into a see-through. Try this out for yourself. Find a boss, get used to his movesets. If you spot a chance to do a counter attack, go for it. You will probably get hit, but trust me, it's worth taking the risk. You'll get comfortable with the timing really fast. It's just basically trial and error. So you want to do this. You want to become untouchable. You want to flex on the boss, reminding them how bad they are at their job. Alright, I got you. Once you get comfortable with the timing of the see-through, you can now apply that to your light attack combos, keeping pressure on the boss while also predicting when you can do your next counter attack. You can queue in a counter attack after the end of every light attacks you do, but those who have tried it out would notice that it becomes a little bit inconsistent towards the end of the combo. So let's talk about when you can do a see-through in your chain of light attacks. The first three is easy. You can pretty much tell when their animations will end to queue in a see-through. But the fourth one is where things gets interesting. Past the halfway point of the fourth attack animation, you will get a brief window where you can do a see-through or dodge out, and then you'll go back to being stuck in the animation until you do the last hit of it. It's probably really hard to comprehend what I just said, so let me try to visualize it for you. The green highlight will be the frames where you can back out and do a see-through, and the red highlight will be the ones where you can't. I know, just just repeat that part if you need to. To summarize, as you can see, the first 3 light attacks has a clear visual cue of when the animation ends. The 4th attack, after the halfway point of the animation, you get a short window, and for the 5th attack, you're pretty much stuck until the end. I don't want you guys to stress too much about that section. It's only meant to serve as a guideline, to give you an idea of what animations to look out for. The best way to go about this is to get a feel for it yourself. You know, find an empty area, do your light attack combos, chain in tactical retreat every other moves, and then, you know, kinda gauge it yourself. And despite the frames looking very tight between each animation, like I said earlier, you can actually delay your next light attack input to give you a bigger window to do a see-through. I'll show you what I mean here. This is my first time fighting this boss, so I don't really know his movesets that well. That's why, as you can see, I'm doing my attacks really slowly, giving myself more window to do a see-through. But be warned that if you wait too long for your next light attack inputs, the animation will reset and you'll have to start at the beginning again. If you're still a little bit scared of doing the counter attacks, just know that as long as you get hit during the see-through animation, it will trigger successfully. Which it can be surprisingly longer than you think. And that's pretty much it for the mechanic. If you made it this far, I really admire your dedication. With the gameplay aspect out of the way, let's talk about equipment. Unfortunately, there are only 2 equipments that directly buffs the see-through. The first one being this Curio, Tiger Tendon Bolt, that for a brief moment after seeing through the enemy, you increase your attack. With the other one being the Spike Shaft Staff, continuously gaining focus for a brief moment after you do a see-through. However, this weapon gets overshadowed pretty fast once you start unlocking mythical weapons. Even though the direct buffing equipments are limited, since counter attacks requires you to use a focus point, any equipments that help with that will come in useful. One good example would be the Amber Prayer Beads Curio. There are a lot of good options for armor sets as well, but I think the video has gone on long enough. But if you guys are interested, I might make a video about it later. So play around with that, see which one fits you best, and yeah, I think that's all. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you. Like really, thank you for taking out the time of your day to come and watch. It's my first time making a guide video, so I apologize if my pacing is a little bit inconsistent. If there are still some things that you want me to elaborate on or you need help, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to try and help. And if you find this helpful, please let me know as well. And once again, thank you for tuning in and stay safe.